Hey guys, it's me, Jan, CEO of Acquire.Fi. We have Andrew from Magnus Capital here again. Our weekly session where we cover the news, what's happening in the crypto space, and also some charts. And what do we have today, man? What's going on?
Looks like we're getting a bit of a sell-off coming into October. There was a lot of euphoria coming into October. I think there was a little bit of like war scare that just happened a couple days ago as well. And, a lot of things were coming into resistance levels, and momentum was slightly turning to the bearish side. So, a correction right now does kind of make sense to me. And, we have a lot of like econs this week as well. That's also helping fuel the fire here. So pretty volatile week, it looks like.
Yeah, man. I was looking for Uptober, but eventually what you expect is never what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Exactly.
I think the biggest thing at the moment is the Middle East. Obviously, people who don't know, Iran, Israel, and Lebanon are fighting with each other. I think Iran sent missiles yesterday, and today Israel is either gonna just look what's happening or start the Middle East war in full scale. What do you think of this? How is this gonna affect the risk assets?
Obviously the market's pretty shooken by it, and I think the market kind of sold off based on the fear of war again. I think we just kind of have to see how the dust settles here, because they've been doing this for quite some time now, back and forth, where they launch an attack and then they stop, they cease fire, and then a few months goes by and they do it again. So let's see how far they take it this time around. And until then, it's kind of hard to say where we're gonna go.
Yeah, I agree. I think usually like what has happened with BTC is the first initial weeks are quite dumpy. Like we saw it with Ukraine, Russia when they attacked. Bitcoin dumped quite a lot, but after that it was recovering and actually outperformed quite a lot of different assets. I think the same is going to happen now. We always overreact in crypto and eventually we go up. Obviously, like I was waiting for October. I think everyone in crypto was waiting for October. We had such a good meetings overall in Singapore. I think everyone were pretty bullish there, but you never know. It's a very tough year overall. Presidential election, and then we have a Middle East war coming up.
Yeah,
Never a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah. A lot of chaos right now. And some people follow the eclipse stuff as well, and I think there's an eclipse coming up today or tomorrow.
Oh no.
So yeah, I mean, who knows?
What's next? But anyway, I want to cover a little bit the hyperliquid stuff. So, hyperliquid is basically a DEX on chain where you can take quite big, what do you call it? You can go quite, yeah, leverage. You can go quite degenerate with this. But why I'm covering hyperliquid is because it's becoming quite big compared to like centralized exchanges. Like the volume on hyperliquid has been more than on MEX and on KuCoin lately. So I think that's something that people should be looking at more. And obviously, we will have a link here if you guys want to register to hyperliquid. But yeah, there was a whale that actually got quite in a bad position. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. That's a big liquidation.
Yeah, man, this is quite
Like,
bad.
yeah, like I know a lot of traders were actually following this guy. We've been kind of monitoring him for a couple of weeks here. It's like, yeah, pretty wild. Losing $13 million definitely doesn't feel good. But it would have been nice to have him as an affiliate. I mean, $2 million in funding, that would have been nice.
Yeah, let's hope we get some whales to watch the show. But I think another thing, what I saw was that this money that the guy had is actually from different hacks, and he might be trying to manipulate the market and get something going. I don't know if that's true. If it is, that's quite interesting. But definitely something to look at. Hyperliquid, it's definitely growing, and I think the further we grow in crypto space, the more decentralized exchanges are going to be very popular, and especially when Mika is coming in Europe and other very not so cool laws in different jurisdictions. But let's see.
Totally. I'm a big fan of Hyperliquid. I do a lot of trading on there, so I definitely recommend it.
It's good to know. Another news: Tron Network posts record of $577 million in revenue in Q3. That's quite big, man. That's quite astonishing. And even though, like, I think they're not still that big compared to Solana and ETH, they're becoming quite big. To be honest, they're becoming very big. Actually, if is this true? This can't be true.
Wow, that's a
No
large
way.
piece of the pie.
Yeah, that's a very big piece of the pie. But this would be very good for the Ton ecosystem itself. Like, very bullish on what they build. Obviously, I don't know how much of this is real.
Mm-hmm. It might be because of the new meme coin stuff that they've been pushing. So
Yeah,
they might have just had a new like inflow of stables because of that purely.
wow. But okay, this is stablecoin graph. No wonder. So it's Ethereum, Tron, obviously Justin Sun there with his remittance business, and then we have others. So Tron is not that big actually there, but obviously they made a lot of money. I think that money will flow into different investments, and I think they're gonna do also some M&A later on this year. But very interested to see, like, hey, how much they've grown in 1 year's time. If you asked anyone last year, like, hey, are you gonna invest in in Tron? I don't think anyone would have said so,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
like I mean, if you look at Tron's token price too, it's been pretty uppy.
yeah,
It's been performing pretty well this year, it seems. So he's definitely good at marketing, that's for sure.
yeah. Mr. Justin Sun. I actually said, yeah, nothing. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it here on live, but yeah, good to see Justin and his crew getting some things right. Okay, anyway, next thing. Bitcoin ETF flows. So we had a very positive month overall, almost every day over $100 million. For the past 2 days, we saw some negative flows again. Hopefully, this is not going to be the case now again, that we see weeks of just negative flows. Obviously, the Middle East was there, affecting the prices and affecting the mood. And same thing again with ETFs, quite a lot of negative stuff. Obviously, there's Grayscale with their ridiculously high fee, and we're now at $3 billion out of 9 billion. What's your take here?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can understand why they are selling. Like I said, like we were in quite a bit of resistance, and these are the levels where you would normally take either profits or start looking for shorts. Also, you know, the fear of uncertainty with the war stuff and stuff like that obviously kind of triggers a bit of fear in the market. So, you know.
Cool. You want to show your things now?
Yeah, sure. I can start with the seasonality stuff here. 1 second. Let me.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry, my computer is lagging here. Slideshow. Yeah, let me know if you can see this. It's just loading right now for me. So, we're in the first couple days of October. Based on seasonality, we were expecting a bit of a sell-off coming into the end of September, first week of October. So maybe this is the final dip that we were expecting. And then from here on, it is supposed to be a little bit of an up market. So I'm thinking maybe closer to like mid-October is when we'll start seeing the market start rallying again. And then obviously, if you look closer to like kind of later into like the end of October, we are supposed to see a little bit of another down trough, which does set us up for like the final bottom in a sense. So let's see. If you look at the tech sector, a little bit different, but same thing. Like we were expecting a bit of a sell-off coming into the end of September into the first week of October. And so I think that's just kind of like what we're seeing right now. But the good news is we are supposed to expect a bit of an up market, until the rest of the end of the year here. So I think, again, like closer to like mid-October is when we'll start seeing the upward rally. So hopefully, this plays out. Hopefully we get these nice little bottom troughs here in the next week or two, and then we can fire away.
Got it.
Awesome.
I your face actually froze down, but it's okay. I can see the pictures. Anyway,
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, it's all cool. But yeah, it was expected that we would have a little bit of dipping still. Obviously, we're in the beginning of October. Hopefully, after let's say the 10th or 15th, we will start seeing the Uptober. But who knows? But yeah, what do you see in BTC? What's going on?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see my chart?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Like in the last week, like we were in this like short reload zone. This is typically where you see a lot of resistance, where you would take shorts or where you would sell, right? Basically based off these longs, if you bought anywhere down here, that's a pretty decent rally that you would have been able to clip some profits on, right? So I do expect like it makes sense why the ETFs are maybe taking some profits, offloading some bitcoins here. Um, we do have bearish divergences. We did hit overbought conditions. So, you had structure, you had location, you had momentum. Now what we're seeing is, I was expecting 38.2s as our first kind of like support. Prices came pretty close to it, and now we're just kind of consolidating here. Ideally, if this is an uptrend still, I would like to see the price consolidate here and then eventually see either a breakout back up above. The nice thing was we did break higher from these highs. And so we do have a higher high and higher lows. So that is technically an uptrend based off this range here. And so hopefully this can continue higher and we can keep going up with our October analysis.
So you
But
really
right
think,
now, yep.
yeah,
Sorry.
you really think we're gonna hit 56, 58,000, or that's just the reload zone?
I mean, these are typically like my reload zones that I like to look for. These are generally where I like to be, heavily looking for longs. 38.2s are typically like your first stops of like, either support or resistance based on which direction you're going. And ideally, like if this is an uptrend market, the market will come back to these 38.2s, consolidate, and then push their next leg up. So, ideally, I would like to see something form here, like maybe a double bottom before I can trigger any kind of trade long ideas here. But yeah, like generally, like I like to buy in cheap. So, these reload zones are where I would be ideally looking for. But hopefully we don't go that low.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we look on ETH, ETH is also kind of similar. ETH hasn't been performing as well as Bitcoin, right? But same idea. We came right into these short reload zones off of this range. We had the bear divs. We didn't quite hit overbought conditions, but you do see the momentum did turn over with everything else. And this one actually fell off a lot harder than Bitcoin did. But now we're actually technically in the long reload zone of this range. So, this is where we would like to see support and some kind of like consolidation, hopefully some kind of double bottom structure to kind of like solidify that this is the final range. But right now, it's still very early to tell. It's holding the 61.8 levels. So let's see how this kind of forms. We do have a bear div, so momentum did shift here.
Yeah, and obviously, like there is a grayscale still like sitting with more than $7 billion to dump, and what we saw from the ETF graphs again, they've been dumping almost every day. Yesterday, they dumped $43 million, which is quite a lot. And yeah, I mean, before we get grayscale out of the picture, I think it is going to have a lot of troubles. And I'm not going to be bullish until we see grayscale with less than $2 to $3 billion in their war chest.
Yeah, exactly. And so now you can see Bitcoin is also getting beat up pretty badly here. Like when you look at this on a bigger range, right? Like we are technically in the long reload zone finally. So this area is where we are supposed to start seeing either structure and momentum turning. The thing is like we did have a bullish divergence confirm on this move, and we did hit oversold conditions right here after washing these lows. We were trying to form a little double bottom right here, but it looks like we failed, unfortunately. and now we're coming right against these lows again. So, I'm hoping that this doesn't break lower and that we can actually consolidate here and then create this like higher low. But right now, obviously, it looks a little bit rough. So yeah, hopefully we see some kind of bullish consolidation here, and then that could look a lot more positive for the altcoins. But until then, looks a little bit cooked here. And then going over to the dominance charts, like as you can see, Bitcoin dominance came right back up on this recent sell-off. Also, based on the sell-off, a lot of the inflow was coming right back into stable coins versus the alts. So, we did see quite a bit of a pullback in a lot of the alt names. But if you look at the indexes, they haven't broke to new lows yet based on the previous breakout structures. And to me, it just looks like a retest of the original breakouts right now. So I think what we got to see is the indexes to consolidate again, once again. This is kind of like what you call a Wyckoff check when it retests the original double bottom breakouts. And so, there's still a little bit of hope in the market here.
Got it. Yeah, I think overall, like despite the stable coins graph is going up, it's not always that black and white, because most of the stable coins are used for remittance also. Like if you look at the remittance market, like sending money back and forth between different countries, it's becoming harder, and usually people that have harder time to use fiat currencies, they use stable coins. So I think if stable coin supply is going up, it's not always going to shit coins or other risk assets.
Right. So I also want to show you the Dixie chart here. Obviously, when you see the Dixie pumping, it's not really good for risk-on assets. So, now that we're seeing a bit of a sell-off, we're seeing a bit of a pump in the Dixie. I was saying last week, or a couple of weeks now, I was expecting a bit of a reversal here because, we did have a bullish divergence back here. Now we even have a larger bullish divergence on the MACD. We were in the oversold conditions for quite some time as well. Also seeing the 88.6 tag, holding pretty well. Institutions were obviously loading up, keeping this level guarded. And then, now we also have a double bottom playing out, right? So based on this, I think we have, these 38.2s as our main resistance levels. So those are kind of my first kind of targets of where this price can technically go towards. And obviously with the Dixie pumping right now, we are seeing a bit of the equity is also pulling back finally. With the equity stuff, they ran pretty hard. So it's not surprising that they are finally, pulling back here. And, also same thing, we got a lot of potential bear divs forming here. We did hit overbought conditions. We broke all-time highs. And so maybe this was just a nasty stop run that they're trying to do. And as you can see, this is massive gap that they left behind, which eventually has to be filled. So I think that's what's happening with price. I think price has to come back down and refill these gap that they left behind. And then if you look on the NASDAQ didn't actually break to all-time highs like the S&P. And the problem with NASDAQ is it actually got rejected off the 88.6. These are your institutional kind of sniper levels. And then now we are within the short reload zone. And we had a double top confirm right here on the 78.6. You got potential bear divs. You got the overbought conditions. And then as you can see, there's a big gap right here as well. So I do think the market is trying to just correct. And I don't think it's overly bearish. I think it's just a healthy correction that we're seeing. And we are just kind of cleaning up the momentum signals and stuff now. So let's see how that kind of pans out.
When do you see this October beginning? Because in the beginning of the month, it was very horrible. And do you think it will be middle of the month before everything starts to reverse, or before?
I think maybe by next week, hopefully. The closer to the end of the first week to next week, I think the market might start forming some structure again, but I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? But I think mid-October to late October is when we'll start seeing the rally again. So
Got
let's
it.
see.
Any altcoins that you are looking at the moment?
To be honest, like it's mostly just kind of going through the names that like maybe we perhaps like missed. Like on my market report, I went over quite a few different names. A lot of them broke out, right? So I am kind of looking for like retracements back to like levels. And one of the names that I actually kind of really liked and am hunting, mainly because I missed the first trade on this, was this Quill AI. So, we had this nice little breakdown. It looks like the 38.2 could not hold. So obviously this downtrend is coming back down. My location that I'm going to be looking for my first kind of like entry would be around these long reload zones. So the 61.8 to 70.6. I also like this area because this is where we had a lot of these bottoms kind of form and structured. So there is a lot of support levels, especially against these lows. So I think price is eventually going to have to come back down to this box. And then once we're here, I'm going to be looking for some kind of consolidation, looking for double bottoms again, but within these levels.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I have two coins that I want you to show. One of them is CK.
Okay. Yeah,
Let's
so
go.
we got CK Sync here. So here's an example of the 30.2 holding right now. So this is like what we call like the pump chaser zone, the PCZs. And the pump chaser zone usually starts from like 38.2 to the 50 line. And so like if this is an uptrending market, this is typically where the markets will come back to reset, consolidate, and then break out again. So right now, as you can see, the market is trying to hold here at the 38.2s. You can technically take a long here if that's something that you want to be chasing, or if that's kind of like your style of a little bit more aggressive. So I do have a kind of a position drawn on, Pierre. I know that you took a long here as well. So, this is kind of like typically like a Wyckoff check as well, retesting this original breakout. And yeah, like momentum looks kind of okay. Like, you do have a little bit of a bear div kind of confirmed here, unfortunately. You did have the overbought conditions. So, this has to kind of reset. But maybe we do see a bit of a consolidation in price, and that can kind of send it away.
Got it. And my other pick is Ronin. Ron.
Ronin. Okay, so Ronin's actually coming really close to the reload zone here. As you can see, the 61.8 is just like so close. I would actually kind of wait till this comes back down to the reload zone personally. Like what I see is like I really kind of like where the 78.6 level lines up here. It's right against these like candle body lows on this original breakout. Right now price is testing this original double bottom. We have a bit of a Wyckoff check happening right now. We do have a bear div though, unfortunately, but we did not hit overbought conditions here, it looks like. So, maybe we do get a little bit of price consolidation. Maybe we break down. Maybe, once we start forming something like this is kind of like what I'd be looking for in terms of a trade.
Got it.
Yeah. But it is coming into levels here. So, yeah, I mean, definitely, I think like most of these coins are going to be coming back down into respectable levels, whether it be your 30.2s or your long reload zones. And so I think right now is a good time to kind of get your list of baskets of names that you might have missed or you want to kind of add to, and then just wait for the levels to come in and then look for the structure.
And what's your two picks that you would pick at the moment or you're waiting for?
Like I said, I think like Quill is definitely one that I'm waiting for right now. Mainly because I missed this trade completely. So I am looking for this long reload zone for it to come back in. And then actually there's Ronin sorry, I wasn't sharing this chart. So yeah, Quill, right? So I'm looking for this long reload zone. So I think we are going to get it. And once we are back into this range, this is where I'll be hunting structure. So looking for double bottoms once again. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the only real pick that I'm like really heavily eyeing right now. And then, maybe like CeeLo. I know Vitalik posted about it and was pretty happy about it. And we did have this original trade breakout. So maybe I will look into possibly reloading into it. For this one, I'm probably going to be chasing like the pump chaser zone, which is your 38.2 to 50 line. I kind of like it near the 50 line more because that is where the original entry was for me and the original breakout. So, if this kind of comes back down, this is kind of where I would look to maybe possibly add another position.
Got it. I think I'm going to show one thing before ending the show. So yesterday we were lucky enough that one of our coins, let me show it. There we go. So Degen Distillery was something that the Acquire.Fi community was investing in. They went live yesterday. So what is Degen Distillery? It's basically a liquor brand that is trying to decentralize. I wouldn't say decentralized, but they do have a good distribution network with BrewDog. And basically they launched the token yesterday, and the token is supposed to get some of the profits that they are making with their liquor brand. But this is very good. And yesterday they launched, and I'm happy to say that we are actually almost 5x up on our investments. And this is always good. I'm always happy when this happened because it's been a very horrible market, especially for pre-sales. And I know also Andrew, you and Magnus Capital and other funds and VCs have been saying the same thing. It's very hard to get some good listings at the moment. But yeah, we had some good luck with this one. And hopefully people out there that are wanting to invest, please join our channel. Please follow this channel also for good and what do you call it? Good pre-sale opportunities. But yeah, I think this is good to stop the recording here. Andrew, again, thank you for being on the show despite the technical problems.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Sorry for the glitches, unfortunately, but yeah, hopefully you guys found some value. And yeah, please like and subscribe and hit us up.
Yeah, and I will put the links here for Hyperliquid and some others. Stay tuned and see you guys next week.